everybody, it's Emily. I'm a designer with the Quilted Cow, and I am here to show you how to make the Helpful Heifer Bees bowl covers today. These bowl covers come in 3 different sizes and fit bowls sizes 6, 8, and 10 inch. And before I get to that, though, I want to talk about this fabric that is from Wilmington Fabrics. It is it's called Sunflower Sweet, and we are sponsored by Wilmington Fabrics. We are also sponsored by Viking Husqvarna and Creative Grids, cutting mats, rotary cutters, and their rulers. All right, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our circles out for our bees bowl covers. And if you'll notice on this cover, it looks like there's a little bit of a binding, but it's actually the lining fabric turned to the inside to make it look a little bit fancier. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out my circles. They're going to be 2 different sizes. And to cut my circle out, I'm going to be using the supersized 5-in-1 sliding gauge. This is available on our website. It's thequiltedcow.com, so make sure you visit there to get that. We also have kits available for these bowl covers. The kits are going to have everything that you need to make all 3 of the bowl covers, including the elastic that we're going to use. So make sure that you grab one of those kits. It also has the paper pattern available inside of the kit, or you can get the postcard pattern. Our Helpful Heifer series postcard patterns are always available on our website. Check those out. All right, so I am actually cutting out for the largest size that I need. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sliding gauge, and the great thing about it is that you're going to take half the width of your circle. So if I'm making a 15-inch circle, I'm actually going to put the gauge on the 7.5-inch line here. And it's just a little push and click, and then it holds it in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up. I have my fabric. You can do this one of 2 ways, by the way. You can either leave your fabric flat, stick this in the middle, put your pin in here, and then just go all the way around. But I like to go ahead and fold it because it takes up less room and makes it just a little bit easier for me to do. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this, there's a little hole right in here, and I'm going to put that right in the center of the corner of the fabric. And I'm using a friction pin. This is a friction fine liner pin. It fits right down in this little hole really, really well. And I just take it off of the corner right there and just draw that quarter circle just like that. Easy peasy. And I have my circle drawn, and it is the correct size. So once I get finished with that, I set that to the side. I'm going to take my scissors now. I don't like to use my rotary cutter for this, and the only reason why I don't like to use my rotary cutter is because the fabric will start to bunch up on you, and you don't want that to happen. But it is just pretty simple to go and make a quick cut all the way around, and you're going to get your circle cut out nice and easily. The scissors that I'm using, they are the Karen K Buckley Perfect Scissors. Once again, these are also available on our website. I love these scissors. So once I've got that, then I've got that quarter circle cut out, ready to go. And one of the other things that I do is I go ahead and mark with an iron, a quick iron press on here. I think my iron's still hot. And this is going to mark quarters on my circles. So I've got my smaller circle cut out that I need for the top of this, and I'm just going to give that a quick press so that I have a line marked on those circles, and I've got it divided into quarters. This is going to be easier and whenever we move on to the next step. So I've got another size that's already cut out, and this one I've got my quarters. You can see the lines where the quarters, and I've matched up the quarters with my pins on all 4 of the quarters first. And then I'm going to pin this. Now it's going to take a little while to pin it, and you're going to say, oh my goodness, this is going to take forever. Just, start singing a song in your head, whatever you want to do to get yourself occupied. But you're going to take and you're going to pin you're going to divide each segment in half and pin all the way around. So I'm going to divide this in half. I'm just going to grab from here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's never really going to be perfect, but you do want to get it close. And you're going to just take your pins and pin, and then divide it in half. And you'll notice that I've got some extra fabric here, and that's okay. The reason why is because the large circle is never going to fit on the small circle. So you're going to constantly be having some puckers and gathers and everything that you're going to be working with while you're sewing these together. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem, because whenever your elastic's on it, you're not going to notice those puckers and gathers. So I just keep going and dividing each section in half and then in half again. And then once I'm finished, then I'm going to come around, I'm going to leave this on the bottom side to help ease the fabric in. And I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, leaving about a 1.5 inch, maybe a 2 inch opening, so that you can turn this right side out, because we need to flip it right side out. So once we've got that done and we've got it sewn, all right, so once you have your top or your circles sewn together with that 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to turn it right side out through that opening. And then we're going to give it a good press. We're going to make sure that it's a nice, about a 1/2 inch even all the way around. And you'll notice on this one that there are some puckers and gathers on here, and that's okay. But we're going to give it a nice press, make it nice and flat. And then we need to go ahead and fold that little edge, that raw edge under, so that it follows the circular shape. And then the next thing that you need to do is make sure that you sew the casing. So we're going to do a top stitch all the way around in that seam allowance, or as close to that seam allowance as you can get. And you're going to go all the way around, just top stitching and leaving that opening open so that you can put your elastic through this opening here. So you'll notice that I've gone ahead and I've done that top stitching all the way around. And then we're going to thread our elastic through. So I have my elastic cut. And the pattern is going to tell you exactly what size of circles and also what size of the elastic that you're going to want to cut on this. So make sure that you just follow the instructions on that. The kits do include enough elastic to get all 3 of your bowl covers, and also enough fabric to get all 3 of your bowl covers. One thing that I didn't mention before whenever I was cutting out my circles is that I do like to go ahead and cut a smaller, more manageable piece whenever I'm doing that. So whenever I'm folding up into a square, if I need to cut a 15-inch circle, then I cut out about a 16-inch-ish square. Gives me a little bit of room to work with, so it makes it easier. All right, so I'm going to use this teal thingy. And if you haven't heard of the teal thingy, this is a Quilted Cow exclusive product. It comes with 2 thingies inside of the felt case. And there's the 1/4 inch square on the end, so you can always measure your 1/4 inch. You've also got your little pusher, poker, whatever you need to do. If you need to, whenever you push these right sides out, you're going to be able to get around all the way around your corners so that it's a nice curve. You also get to poke out your corners with this. And then another benefit to it is go ahead and thread your elastic through here so you can thread it through the casing. So these teal thingies are handy in more ways than one. One of the other things I like to do before I get this started so that I don't accidentally lose this end up into the casing is go ahead and give it a clip. Go ahead and clip the end of that elastic. And I don't really want to put a pin in that. If I put a pin in that, then I might accidentally poke myself. So to keep from poking myself, I just make sure that I kind of hold that end where the elastic is stuck in the teal thingy. And just keep fabric going all the way around. Try not to pull on the elastic as you're pulling the fabric around. You just want the fabric to slide over that elastic. And that'll keep the elastic from coming off of your teal thingy and having to start all over again. That's just about there. And there we go. So now we've got our elastic all the way through. And go ahead and leave yourself these long tails. The reason for that is because we're going to actually stitch this elastic together, and we're going to overlap about 1 inch. There's plenty of elastic on here, so if you overlap more than 1 inch, then it's not a problem. But we do want to go ahead and stitch the elastic together so that it stays together inside and you have a nice gather whenever you're going. So let's move over to the machine. So we're going to go ahead and sew this elastic and make sure that we Backstitch over it a couple of times. That way it's nice and secure. And all right, get that cut. And then we're just gonna sew one more line right next to that, right on the other end. Just lay your elastic nice and flat as you do this. Don't stretch it, just hold on to it so that it stays where you want it to go. And one more time across. All right. Got that all sewn up. All right, so if you notice, I've got one line on one side, one line on the other. So at this point, I'm just going to stretch that elastic back down into the casing. So once we've got our elastic threaded through, we've got the two pieces, the two ends of the elastic sewn together. We're now going to fold this this bottom part back over so that we've got a nice edge and we don't have any raw edges showing. And we're going to top stitch that opening closed. And in order to do that, we're just going to take our bowl cover over to the machine again. We're going to make sure that our elastic is out of the way. And I'm just going to lead that through just right on top of there. And then you can see where I'm just going to sew on top of that, just lightly over the edge of the yellow part, the casing, so that it holds that closed. And the other thing that we're going to do is make sure that we go ahead and get that fabric, and it will kind of pucker and gather. This is another thing that this teal thingy is good for, is to hold your fabrics in place while you're sewing them down. But we want to be just on the very edge of that casing. And like I said, it's okay to have these puckers and gathers because once the elastic is all spread out, you're not going to notice them at all. All right. We're just going to give it a little back stitch at the end just to secure that. And cut our threads, and then we are ready to go. And we have a finished bees bowl cover. I'm just going to trim off my extra threads that I have. And then the last thing that I do is kind of spread that elastic out a little bit just to get it going. But the best way to do this is to put it over a bowl, and that'll get everything all evenly placed with your elastic and your cover. So once again, these Wilmington fabrics make a wonderful little bees bowl cover. This is a helpful heifer, and this is a series of patterns that the Quilted Cow has that are very simple and easy to put together. These kits come with enough fabric and the elastic to make the bowl covers in 3 sizes, and they are a 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch bowl size that you're going to be able to cover with these. So get yourself a kit, go online to our website, get yourself a kit. You can also go in store and get that. Make sure that you like and subscribe to these videos, and thank you so much for watching.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.